Hello, welcome and good morning to the first webinar in the Exhibitor Education Program for AAO 2018. I am once again pleased to introduce Jefferson Davis, who, as many of you know, has led our exhibitor program over the past 20 years, and what changes we have seen in the industry over that period of time. I was thrilled to witness the industry's recognition of Jefferson's exhibitor program while attending the Gold 100 event sponsored by Trade Show Executive in September last year. His E3 Exhibitor Effectiveness Evaluation and ESRC Exhibitor Success and ROI Center won Best Program to help exhibitors maximize ROI. His client, AAOS, submitted their results on his behalf. Be sure to visit the Exhibitor Resources webpage on Exhibitor Central. And now I'll turn the program over to Jefferson.
All right, Anna, thank you. It's been a real joy, honor, and pleasure to be part of the Academy's AAO's really exhibitor success team for, hard to believe, 20 years already. And it's been amazing to watch the changes and the growth of the event. So, you know, one of the things I always appreciate about working with show organizers like Anna and AAO is that they don't just rent you concrete and hope it works out for you. They believe that an educated customer is their best customer, and they also believe that unless you succeed, the show doesn't succeed. And that's why for 20 years now they've been investing in ongoing exhibitor education. As Anna mentioned, the Exhibitor Resources page on the screen right now is your 24/7, 365 knowledge portal. We're continually updating it. You'll notice this year we have organized the content by topical area. We've included 3 downloadable tools. If you haven't grabbed those yet, go grab those. There's a planning and management tool, a budgeting and cost control tool, and a measurement tool. And all these things are part of the same programs when I work with companies directly that they pay over $10,000 to use. You have free access, so go download all these things. My background is trade shows. I tease people, I don't know much, but I know a little bit about shows. I've always believed that a trade show is an investment, not an expense. And I believe that if we're going to get measurable value beyond cost, we have to be executing around the strategic side of the game. Most exhibitors are caught in what I call the logistics trap. Get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, ship it, fly them to the venue, set it up, tear it down, send it home, do all that on time and on budget, and they call that pre-show planning. I don't really call it pre-show planning. I call it dealing with logistics. And of course you have to deal with the logistics to show up, but here's the thing. That's all it guarantees, is that your booth, your products, your people show up. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get anything from the time and the money that you're investing in the annual meeting. And that's why we're doing this. We want to make sure that your exhibiting program is not an expensive appearance. We want it to be a productive, profitable investment. That's why we're doing this. So let's jump in and get started on today's topic. And by the way, the title here today is Discovering and Delivering Your Attendee-Focused Value Proposition. Since we launched our E3 program now, we're up to over 24,000 exhibit evaluations. And I'll warn you that I can say empirically that very few exhibitors are doing a really good job of integrating a crystal clear value proposition into their booth. And we've done a lot of medical shows. And so you got to put yourself into the role of the attendee, and there's so many places where they could be spending their time, from scientific sessions to visiting individual exhibits to the instruction courses to just time in the exhibit hall, the posters and videos, and networking with their colleagues. And so it's a lot of overchoice. And if you want your exhibit to end up on their must-visit list, then you've really got to take some time here and offer an experience and communicate it, articulate it in a way that makes them want to visit your exhibit. The competition for attendees' time is fierce. Every choice they make about where to spend their time is going to be a values-based choice. So with that in mind, what each one of us as exhibitors has to do is we have to clarify and communicate our attendee-focused value proposition. Okay, so when you think about conferences, trade shows, meetings, exhibitions, you think about why do people really attend. It really comes down to three big reasons. Number one, and in the medical healthcare community, top of the list is learning, right? They're coming to learn, and certainly they're learning through continuing education, posters, all of that, but your exhibit should be a clear and obvious extension to the learning. Number two, sourcing, shopping, purchasing, or revalidating existing buying relationships. And number three is networking. This is the gathering of the tribe. And so they're coming to rub elbows with their colleagues, subject matter experts, vendors, suppliers, partners. And so the key then to think about is, how does your exhibit and how can you make your exhibit experience and how can you make your messaging in advance touch one or more of these reasons? The more of these reasons you can integrate into your exhibit experience, the more traffic you're going to get at your exhibit, the more qualified the traffic will be, the more time they'll spend in your exhibit. Okay, so attendee behaviors, we've been talking about this for a while. They've been changing a lot over the last several years, and most exhibitors haven't really adapted to these changes. Number one, we're finding that they tend to be registering closer to the actual event. Number two, the number of physical days that they're spending away from the practice or the clinic at the event has gone down. Now, it's not that they don't value shows. In fact, the research tells us they value them as much, if not more than ever. But like you, me, everybody else, they're under more pressure to justify the time away from the practice clinic. Number three, they are desperately looking for content, information, best practices, new ideas, solutions to known problems, solutions to coming problems, things that are coming down the line, trends. And they're looking directly to you, the exhibitor, for this information. Number four, the majority are arriving with an agenda. They know what educational sessions they're going to attend. They know what social events they're going to attend. They know where their blocks of time in the exhibit hall are, so they're coming with an agenda. Many of them have a very organized list, too. Now, in the average North American B2B trade show, the average attendee only stops and crosses the carpet line of 26 to 31 exhibits. If you get no other number from this slide I'm showing you right now, circle that number, right? The competition is fierce. And finally, half of their stops, their exhibit stops, are pre-planned. So designing a good in-booth experience, effectively promoting that experience through multiple channels, getting in the mind, on the agenda of enough of the right people is the equivalent of winning the game before kickoff. And so I'm glad you're here with us today, given the number of exhibitors in the show. There's many, many more that could or should be here, but they're not. You're here, so let's get busy. Let's get after this. So everybody's heard the phrase a value proposition, right? We know, the value prop. In business, it's really one of the most important things that we need to be able to communicate. But we're slicing this down, and we're going to maybe come up with a new phrase here, and attendee-focused. It's a clear, concise message that gives attendees a compelling reason to visit your exhibit. It offers a solution to a problem or problems, or it offers opportunities for clinical improvement, practice management, patient care, an opportunity that they can seize. It's going to clearly let the attendee know how much time is required and it will let the attendee know what they'll see and what they'll do and what they'll learn and ultimately what they'll get by visiting your booth. Okay, so the value proposition, and the reason it's so important is because of overchoice in the exhibit hall. Anna, how many exhibiting companies are we expecting this year?
Approximately 500, Jefferson.
500. So you think about that, right? You talk about overchoice. And by the way, there's no way that any individual single human being can walk that show and process 500 exhibitors. So they have overchoice. The sensory overload when they hit the hall. Everything's screaming for their attention. The information overload that they're struggling with after attending a scientific session, posters, videos, instructional courses, their brains are completely at the point of information overload. So you've got to be able to cut through the noise and visually, both pre and at the show, demand the attention of the people you want to see. That interaction time in the booth is 3 to 7 minutes is the average interaction. It's not a lot of time. And of course, high competitive presence. And not just your direct product or service category competitors, but honestly, if you're competing with 500 other exhibits. And so this is why we've got to invest the time here to think through our attendee-focused value proposition. Okay, and it counters these challenges. That's why we invest the time. So what I want to walk you through is a process for finding your voice. And by the way, as a consultant and a trainer, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of companies over the years, and I've applied this over the last few years with some amazing turnarounds, helping companies find their value proposition. So I want to walk you through the 8-step process. So it all starts with clearly defining your target customer, your target visitor. And, because not everybody that attends the meeting is your ideal visitor. So the question is, who is? Think about specialties, think about subspecialties, think about the procedures, think about the job functions and titles of anybody who's involved. Think about the geographical locations that are important to you. Think about the size of the practice, the clinic, the hospital, the operation, and anything else that will help you define. What you want to do in step 1 is write a clear and concise definition of, it's almost like a persona is the word people are using in marketing today, a persona, right? So I'm defining my target customer because now everything I do will spin off of who that target is. Number 2 is, as soon as I define my target customer, then I'm going to figure many of you have multiple solutions, right? So if you're a single solution provider, you have one solution. You've got it figured out. But many of you, medium and large companies with a lot of solutions, struggle with what do you bring, and more importantly, what do you feature? Write this phrase down, everybody on here who's a multiple solution provider. Less is more. At a trade show, less is more. So what you want to do then is, the magnet is NEW, new. It's like a magnet. It's one of the number 1 reasons attendees come to the exposition, and it's one of the number 1 reasons they hit the exhibit hall. They want to see what and who is new. If you have anything new, that's your lead. Build your value proposition around your new product, service, or solution. Second in the hierarchy is what's trending, what's hot, what's topical, what are ophthalmologists buzzing about right now? What are they paying attention to? New procedures, rules, regulations, whatever, right? So what's hot? And then number 3 is your pillar services or products. Most companies who have multiple solutions, the 80-20 rule usually comes into play. 80% of their revenue comes from 20% of their offerings. So you would obviously want to have your pillar services or products in the exhibit and being reinforced. So in step 2, I want you to really zero in on, given who the audience is and giving our range of solutions, what are we going to lead or feature? You can cross-sell all the other stuff, but you need a hook, you need a lead, and you need a feature solution. Step 2. Number 3, think very carefully about the application. How does the surgeon use your solution, in the practice, in the procedure? How do they use it? But also think about what else they might be doing. So maybe you have a newer, better way, and they're doing a older or tried and true or outdated way. So how else might they be trying to get the same outcome that you're trying to deliver? So help you begin to find your voice on some of these. Number 4, this is the centerpiece right here. Okay, if you really want to put your thinking cap on, I would encourage you to get your product managers, your marketing managers, and your sales management, and I would get together and I would find the answers to what situations might be happening in the clinic, in the procedure, in the operation that would prompt them to think about your solutions. Problems, frustrations, issues, bottlenecks, right? When you find your voice on that, you've got half of your value prop. The other one is what opportunities. Opportunities are usually better, faster, cheaper, safer, more efficient, cleaner, greener, whatever, right? So I want you to think about these situations in terms of a problem that they might be experiencing or an opportunity that it might generate. And think about from the customer's perception here. And it's hard sometimes. You've literally almost have to step back from what your products are, think less about your products or your services, and think more about the customer, situations, the problems, the opportunities it creates. There's an old saying in marketing that goes way back. It says that people don't buy 3/4-inch drill bits. They buy 3/4-inch holes. What is your hole? If I were to use that analogy, that'd be a great way to explain it. Don't sell the bit, sell the hole. What is your hole, right? Okay, next. Now, your messaging around your solution, your feature product, is going to have 2 sides to it. One of them is what we call a salient feature and benefit. And this is something that the customer needs to know as part of the evaluation process, but your competition may be able to say this too. And yet it's important that it's part of your messaging, right? Salient. Okay, really you're answering the question, why at all, right? So you might jot that down too. That's a great way for me to really shorten this idea, why at all. So your salient features and benefits, you'll want to look at it and take a look at, see if you can come up with your top 3 features, the things that, salient things they need to know, and what that means to the surgeon, what that means to the doctor, what it means to the clinic, what it means to the patient, what it means to the profitability, right? And then once you find it, what customer needs does that feature address? Okay, and here's really a big thinking point is, so now that you've thought through, okay, they need to know this to be able to make an informed decision about this type of product or service, okay, and the needs that it speaks to are this, write questions that you might ask to get the customer to voice a need for that feature and benefit. Now this next one, number 6, remember in number 5, your competition might be able to say that too. You're answering the question, why at all? In number 6, why you? What makes your product service different? So I really want you to spend some time for your features going, here's our key point or points of differentiation. Okay, this is what makes us different. And then the same process. As soon as you define, okay, what is the fact, what is the feature, okay, what benefit does it offer, and what customer need does it address? Okay, and then do the same thing. Come back and write need-based questions to get the customer to voice a need for your point of differentiation. This is preemptive marketing and preemptive selling. If you can make a key point of differentiation a part of the buying criteria where you have superiority, you'll definitely preemptively block out your competition. If the customer views this differentiated feature and benefit as a must-have, and you're the only one who has it, your odds of winning a deal, if they have a need, are going to be in the 80 to 90% range. Okay, so salient, why it all? Differentiated, why you? Okay, and not only, by the way, will this exercise serve you well at trade shows and pre-marketing and all throughout the exhibit, this will serve you well out in the day-to-day, out in the field out there. And then in number 7 and number 8 now, so you've thought through all this, you have all this great content, so you're going to try to describe or define the attendee experience. And there's 4 key words that you want to work around. What are they going to see? What are they going to do? By the way, the number one way attendees want to engage with exhibits is through interactive presentations and demonstrations. Number one way they want to engage. See it, touch it, pick it up, interact with it. What are they going to learn? What are they going to walk out of your booth knowing that they did not know when they walked in? Because medical meetings are educationally driven events, if you will make key learnings part of your value proposition, they'll come running to your booth. And finally, what are they going to get by visiting your booth? And that get might be knowledge, but it also might be some form of educational resource that they take away with them. Okay, now you've done some heavy lifting in these first 7 steps. In step 8 now, what you're going to do is sift through all this, and you're going to find your hooks, and you're going to find your content. And as soon as you find your hooks and content, you'll be able to integrate it into all these different touch points. Your pre-show marketing, your at-show marketing, your exhibit graphics. You'll be able to weave it into your presentation demonstrations, and you'll be able to use it to train your staff, right? So they know the right questions to ask. They know the key messages that need to be delivered and how they need to be delivered. Okay, so this is a really powerful process. I'll give you an example of a client, and then I'll show you how I would approach this for me. I worked with a company, a 145-year-old company named McClanahan. They are a manufacturer of large capital equipment for the quarry and the mining industry. And when I first met them, there was no message coming off their booth. Okay, it was McClanahan, right? They had equipment in the booth. They had a bunch of engineers standing around hoping people would even know what it was and stop. So we spent some time working through them finding their voice on their value proposition and their unique selling proposition. And we literally found both in 5 words. And this is what it looked like. Do more. McClanahan. Safer, simpler, smarter. Do more, right? The value prop. Everybody wants to do more, right, when it comes to their productivity. Safer, so our differentiation was our equipment is safer, it's simpler, and it's smarter. And so we built an experience in the booth called the Do More Tour. We had 2,300 attendees go through our Do More experience in the booth. Okay? And so that's just a quick example of, at the high level, of how we found our voice and we promoted it through every channel. We were exhibiting at a show in Vegas, and so we used bag stuffers with a mock casino chip, right, that had our take the Do More tour, bring this to the booth, and go through our quick tour, and we got something cool for you in the booth. All right, so let me walk you through, and by the way, as I walk you through how I would really approach this for me, take this time right now to dial in and see how many pieces of your puzzle you can put in right now. Here we go. So at a high level, my target customer, who would I be trying to reach, right? It's a company that exhibits at trade shows. It would typically be a B2B company. It would usually be in a medium to large company, but sometimes smaller company too, right? That's my customer. I have many different solutions, but I'm going to take one just as an example to guide you through how to tackle this topic. So I'm going to focus on exhibit staff training. Why? Because trade shows are about face, right? And I don't care how big and pretty your booth is or where you're located on the show floor or how great your products are. If your booth staff is not up to the task, it's going to fall apart. So I'm going to focus there. Number 3, so what situations might be happening with an exhibitor that would prompt them to think about this need? Well, they're spending a lot of money. They're not getting a lot of booth traffic, right? Booth traffic's low. They're not getting a lot of leads. The leads they are getting are junk. They're not good quality. The booth staff is making every mistake you could possibly make in a booth, and at the end of the show, they can trace little or no return on investment. What are your situations? What is your solution? Who's your target visitor? All right. Now, the application, how do they physically use this solution? Well, we would go about it. There would be a pre-show staff prep web briefing. We get the staff together 6 to 8 weeks before the show online, and we set the whole stage. Then we come to the show the day prior, do a exhibiting skills training, and we also could do in-booth coaching of the team. So there's my application, right? Okay, now, I got to find my salient and my differentiated messaging. So in number 5, right, the salient feature and benefit is going to be trade show skills training improves staff awareness and performance, right? That means what? More booth traffic, higher quality interactions, better leads, and ultimately ROI. But here's the thing, right? My competition can say the same thing, right? And so this is important in terms of the why at all, but now I got to find the why us, okay? So my differentiated feature and benefit message would be, unlike other training that teaches basic boothmanship, don't eat, don't drink, don't sit, don't talk on your phone, right? We teach advanced level solution-focused skills that are tailored to the unique challenges of effectively communicating in the trade show environment. So that's the why us. Why it all? Why us, right? Okay, now I've got to think about the experience, the visitor experience. So what are they going to see and do and learn and get? Well, we're going to run a 3-minute funny video, almost like a parody, showing booth staffers making every possible mistake that you could make. And because it's humorous, who doesn't like to laugh, right? So they'll see a 3-minute funny video. They will do, what's going to be the do? We're going to have on tablets and interactive touchscreens, we're going to have a quick survey for the exhibit manager to select the mistakes that they feel their booth staff, and we're going to publish the results on a flat panel in real time so exhibit managers can see the top mistakes that their colleagues feel their team's making. Number 2, the do, right? Then, what are they going to learn, right? What are they going to walk out of that booth knowing? Well, they're going to understand that their booth staff makes or breaks their success. They're also going to understand what attributes make a great booth staffer, and they're going to know exactly how to improve their exhibit staff performance. And finally, what's my get? I'm going to give them a tool. It's going to be a exhibit staff assessment tool that they can circulate to all their staff to have them self-assess their level in the key attributes. And so that would be an example of defining the visitor experience, right? Now, I'm going to develop my hooks, okay, because I'm going to use as many media as I can. And there's a lot of different ways I can attack a hook, like, number 1, pain-based questions. Hey, tired of spending big money? Little results? Yes, I'm very tired of that, right? Engaging questions. The human brain has a really hard time resisting questions, especially when it's relevant and it's well articulated. What do you feel is really limiting your results? If your boss walked in and asked you to prove ROI, could you? It's a pretty engaging question. What role do you think your booth staff plays in your trade show success? These are engaging type questions, right? Next type, test their knowledge. Most people consider themselves to be pretty competent in what they do. How many of these mistakes or how many of these questions can you get right in 60 seconds, right? Quick and easy test of the knowledge. Make a very strong statement, another strategy for your hook. People make judgments about your company based on your booth staff. It's a really strong statement. And now I'm going to add a question. Are they really putting your best foot forward? Share data. Share research. Share facts. Here's an example. Did you know a CEIR study found the average exhibitor converts 20% of their trade show leads to sales? Didn't know that. How are you doing, right? Or did you know an ASTD study found the top performing companies in every market segment invest 3% of revenue in their people development? These are facts. These are research, right? Question a behavior. You know, you spend a lot of money on your space and your exhibit. How much are you investing to make sure your staff's using both wisely? So now what I can do, I have so much content here. I have no shortage of ammunition to go out, and I can use multiple of these hooks, and I can integrate them through all these different channels, okay? So the value proposition, I'm going to give you a template for taking your thinking and plugging it into one concise value prop. Here it is. Problem. Tired of this, worried about this, struggling with that, concerned about this, furious about that, had enough of this. Opportunity. Interested in, curious about, want to learn about, want to know more about. I could use these together, or I could use them separately. Give us 5 minutes at AAO in booth 123. You'll see, you'll do, you'll learn. Oh, by the way, you'll get. That's your value proposition right there. And if you'll find it, you have the ammunition, you've got the content now to win this game of exhibiting. So let me show you some examples here and how companies are integrating once they find their value prop. Top left, additive calling. Ask the question. Everyone knows what's being added, but what's being taken away? I was at the show. This was the orthopedic surgeon show. I walked by this Stryker booth 3 times. Every time the booth was wall-to-wall with surgeons. There's a lot of power in using the approach of the knowledge and the questions. Hey, this is a super curiosity. If you are a surgeon, you've got to know the answer to this. Why test for VD glucan? How well do you know your critical chest content? And notice how they're defining the experience. Test your clinical skills with the COP Whack-A-Doc. Test your knowledge with the ChestSeek library, right? Review key cases and win a prize, right? Learn more about it here. Great value proposition, right? Great hook. Love your enterprise software experience. Restman, top left, knows that their customers are struggling with trying to get different software solutions to work together to deliver one outcome. And they actually hate the process they have to go to, so love your software experience. Bottom left, build a better uniform for less. Crystal clear. Top right, now there's no need to change the cylinder every time they move out. Wow, I have to do that. That's a pain point for me. Protect your investment in high-cost devices, right? These are all value props. Look at this one. Want better motion control? It's simple. Discover our motion control difference. Fight the slip, right? Reduce workplace slips. Waste less, earn more. Do you want to increase traffic, repeat business, increase your check sizes? Notice where they've got that right on the perimeter of the booth. Here's another one. Never sharpen your instruments again. We'll do it for you for free for life. If you're a surgeon that are using instruments and you're paying to have them sharpened, that's a strong value prop. No salt, no rust, one step. Wow, 6 words. Look on the right, a service. Start, grow, exit. 3 words. And by the way, that is very trendy today to have 3 words, you know, and then build your exhibit experience around those 3 points. Financial experience for the life of your practice, whether you're in the start, the growth mode, or the exit mode. So these are all like really good examples of how people have found their value proposition and how they've integrated it into their exhibit graphics. Okay, so take a moment, go to the question queue right now. We're going to keep firing away. We got a lot more to cover in the time we have left, so here we go. Now, when you found your value proposition, you've got to get it out to the world. And I want to show you that the average exhibitor allocates 14% of their total exhibit budget goes to advertising and promoting their participation. My recommendation is if you want to win the game, find out what the average is doing, do better than that. I'm going to recommend that you start with at least 15% of your total show investment. In the example here, the floor space times 3 is the budgeting rule as a starting point. So in this example, I would have about $1,600 in this example that I'm going to use to promote to deliver my attendee-focused value prop. And there's going to be times when I ratchet that up to 20, if not 25%, because of all the areas that you'll spend money on, right? If you don't get enough of the right people to your booth, all these areas can end up as an expense. If you do get enough of the right, all these areas will end up as an investment. It's the difference between an investment or an expense. So make sure that you budget enough resources so you have the funding. And if your boss, you know, maybe you're agreeing with me, if your boss needs to see this, show him or her the chart, show him or her the changing attendee behaviors, show them this formula, and you'll probably be able to get some funding if you need it. Okay, now, how many media should you use to market your participation? Answer, as many as your time, your skill set, and your budget and your knowledge base allow you to. Okay, you can see an integrated marketing strategy will be touching on many, many points. Okay, so what I want to do quickly here is how many media do you typically use to promote your participation? The poll's live right now. Click the radio dial button that applies. I'll give you just a few moments to do this. Fastest fingers. We're running close on time here. All right. I'll give you just another second, and I'll share the results in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 3% of you said 0, nothing. I would go back and look at the last few slides, and I would rethink that because of all the areas you're going to spend money on. This is the leverage point. 71% of you were in the 1 to 3, 24% 4 to 6, and only 3% of you were using 7+. Again, how many media should you use? As many as your budget, skill set, bandwidth allows. So with that, I'm going to bring Anna back on quickly to just go over a few of the free marketing ops, and then we're going to close this out. So stay with us with an example of what an integrated campaign looks like. Anna, tell us about the couple of free marketing ops.
Thank you, Jefferson. The first thing I'd also always like to let exhibitors know about is to populate their free digital booth in the virtual exhibition. That was due to be posted on the web this week. However, it's delayed a bit, but I'll be sending a bulletin when your digital booth is ready to populate. The virtual exhibition is then posted on the Academy's exhibition webpage for attendees to preview the meeting in advance, and as you saw in the slide earlier, to plan that visit to the exhibit hall. Now, your free digital booth will allow you to put a 25-word company description, list 2 contacts, list your products and services that you provide, as well as the specialty they refer to, as well as typical conditions that they relate to. Then if you update your free digital booth, then you can actually have a link to your website and some additional attributes in your digital booth. Your company listing on the mobile app, when the mobile meeting guide is prepared, we transfer information from the digital booth, the virtual exhibition, over to the mobile meeting guide. So that's another free publicity for you. The use of the annual meeting designation. With our new branding a couple of years ago, we no longer have a logo for the annual meeting, but we do have a designation, and I think I put that in an earlier exhibitor bulletin, that there is a designation you can use at the signature line of your emails or on your website if it's linked back to the Academy's website. And also social media. You're free to use any of the Academy's social media. And the most important thing when you do that, though, is to post using the Academy's hashtags. So, of course, we can view, and those can be tracked. So, yes, do use the Academy's Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn accounts, and make sure you just include the hashtag at @AAO_ops or at @AAO 2018. If you have any questions or you need help on that, Abigail Grieber, who's our promotions manager, will be happy to help you. Now then, of course, we have many paid show promotional opportunities that are available, and you can look at these opportunities on the Academy's website under Exhibitor Central, Promotional Opportunities. And they are in a variety of price points. You should have received an email actually from the Academy just recently that listed the 10 promotional opportunities that are available that are under $10,000. The most economical, of course, is the AAO card pack. This is a pack that's mailed to all advanced registrants, and I believe, and that's also, one of you will be winning a free card pack in this for your attendance today. The other is the attendee bag insert. That is something that, of course, is a one-page advertisement that you can have inserted into the attendee's bag that they pick up on site. The exhibition floor plan was the other opportunity. We wanted to mention that, of course, is put in the meeting bag as well. No, excuse me, that's actually distributed from bins on site. That is a fold out of the floor plan with an exhibitor list. And then, of course, there are opportunities in the meeting program. Again, any questions, please contact Abby.
All right, thank you, Anna. We're coming close. We're about done with content here, so hang with us. We'll be done in a couple minutes. We're going to go to Q&A after that. But here's the thing. View your relationship with AAO as a partnership. Define your audience. Define your goals. Define your budget. Reach out to Abby. She doesn't bite. She's a great person. She'll help you put together an integrated campaign that will support your goals and help you win your fair share of traffic at the show. So let's put all this together, okay? So you're a small exhibitor. You're in a 10 by 10 booth. Your floor space investment is $3,500. Your show budget using the 3 to 5 times rule would be anywhere from $10,500 to $17,500. You're going to earmark 15% of that to promoting. You have two goals: market visibility and awareness. So the first thing you're going to want to do is acquire the pre-registered attendee direct mail list, okay? And drill it down by the demographics that match for you. I recommend an oversized, well-designed postcard that you mail both to your house list and the pre-registered attendee list. The AAO card pack, the direct mailer, has a super high open rate, so that's almost like a no-brainer. It is limited in supply, so if that's on your hit list, do not wait. Move fast. Your free digital booth. Really spend some time writing your description to make sure that there's a reason there to visit. Promote through your social media channels and leverage AAO's channels. AAO also has the See You in Chicago banner, which you can put on your website, your email signature. Be sure to reach out to AAO for the banner. And then bring some of the messaging into your graphics, too, into your exhibit, whether it's the backdrop, whether it is pull-up banners, or signs on easels. Bring your value prop. Make sure your value prop is in your exhibit. You're a larger exhibit. You're going to do the difference here. You're in maybe a 30 by 30 or whatever size. So you're going to take your total floor investment, in this example of 31.5, multiply it by 3 to 5. That way you'll be 94 to 157 into the show. Earmark your 15% to promotion. You have similar goals in terms of brand visibility and lead generation, but you have a new product and you want to be seen as a thought leader. So you'll do similar things as the smaller exhibitor, but you'll add a high-level invitation instead of a postcard. The attendee bag, we've had tremendous success with attendee bag inserts, especially promoting a new product. That card pack would be a really smart place to promote your new product. And then for your new product and your thought leadership, you could book a product theater. You need to check the availability on that, the ability to showcase your new product. The exhibitor floor plan, the Z-fold map, is another great place you might be. Door clings, stair clings, and then taking the meeting-wide step challenge where you'll be able to add your brand to the app, have a dedicated web page, and an on-site leaderboard in your booth. So this would be an example of what it looks like for a larger exhibitor. Very important that you have a consistent message, a consistent design theme, and you communicate through multiple media. So this might be an example of a print that would show up in the meeting directory, in the medical journal trade publications, print. If you're doing oversized postcards, you'll be looking at maybe personalizing them and maybe even using a PURL, a personalized URL. If you're doing emails to your house list, you're going to have a banner, HTML banner that you can insert that carries the same message and the theme. Notice this one. And you might even set up a landing page or a microsite that is dedicated to the event to drive traffic to. So online, email, mail, print, integrated campaign. All right, we've run just a few minutes past our time here. We got a few minute late start. I'm going to open up the question queue. And while I do, Anna, are there any additional thoughts or comments you'd like to add?
No, I think you've just about covered everything. The most important thing, of course, that I'd like to emphasize is the importance of some pre-show planning. I can't tell you how many times I hear the complaint and or request. One, no one walked by my booth, or two, I didn't get a booth near a large company or an entrance. And, with the number and the size of our exhibition, those two things are very difficult to fulfill. So, and the most important thing is pre-show planning. You have to let your customer know that you're participating at the Academy's annual meeting and why they need to come to see you, and utilize some of the opportunities that the Academy offers, as well as other promotions to get your message out to your audience.
Yeah, it's a good point, Anna. Booth location. A lot of us really get hung up that the only way we can win the game is if we're in this location or near this exhibitor. But here's the reality on booth location. Get ready. It's probably going to shock some of you. Number one, there's no perfect location. There's just not. We've seen exhibitors be front and center and make an expensive appearance. We've seen exhibitors back in the corner behind two columns and get a 20-to-1 return on investment. In fact, Exhibit Surveys, who's been doing quantitative, qualitative research since 1963, can make no direct correlation between the physical location of a booth on a floor and the ultimate return on investment the company gets. So here's the thought. Don't count on your location to be the reason why you think you're going to succeed, and don't let it be the reason why you fail. The antidote to any location is what we're talking about today, a well-designed pre-show marketing campaign, an in-booth experience that is worthy of the attendees' time, and a well-trained booth staff who can take advantage of the traffic near your booth. Let me see. The next question is, it's a little off topic. What are the cool booth giveaway trends in 2018? Well, here's the thing. When you're exhibiting at medical shows, number one, you're going to be governed by, if you're a pharmaceutical, you have to be in compliance with pharma. If you're a medical device company, you have to be in compliance with AdvaMed. If you're dealing with healthcare practitioners, you're probably going to be impacted by the Sunshine Act. So it'll be really important that you understand what those regulations are and you stay in compliance. The number one thing that medical attendees value, and it might not be the coolest, but it's the most valuable, is they value educational resources, either patient education, practice education, clinical education. They value takeaways, learning type takeaways. So if I was going to choose between a tchotchke or a learning giveaway in an educationally driven show, I'm choosing the learning giveaway. And I'm also going to promote it in my graphics. It's one of the things that you'll get. Next question is, how far in advance of the meeting should we start promoting? Well, with your one-to-many media, journals, trade publications, you're going to want to get started about 3 months before showtime. That way you can use a 3-2-1 approach. You can build a story 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. With your one-to-one media, where you're trying to get on an individual's agenda, you want to start in about the 45-day window prior to the show. And ideally, you'll try to have 3 touches where you have, like, the first touch might be at 40 days, the second touch might be at 20 days, the The third touch might be at 10 days before the show. And because you'll probably be using your house lists, you can use a combination of email, social media, phone, and maybe even layer in direct mail as we've talked about. Let me see. The next question, Anna, this one I think is in your wheelhouse. Understand that you have eliminated the show logo. What image, verbiage, or description is available, and where can I find it?
Yes, well, if you refer to the marketing section that's under Exhibitor Central Rules and Regulations, you'll see information there on how and what you can reference as far as promoting your participation at the meeting. And there is an image of an image that you can use to promote your participation. I've also expanded that because I've seen the use, and would be happy to send that file to you. Simply send me an email and I'll take care of that for you.
Okay, thank you. Next question I think is in my wheelhouse. What is the single best media for promoting my participation? My answer to that question is there is no single best. The magic is in the mix. Different people pay attention to and respond to different media. So the best thing that you can do is, number one, take advantage of all of the free marketing ops that the AAO makes available to you, and Anna covered those with you. Use them all. They're free. And then second, take a look at your goals and your budget and find the ones that best support what your goals are. And that's a good outreach call to Abby at AAO. She can help you with that. All right, that is all I'm seeing for questions. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your schedule today to log into us. Hopefully I've inspired you to get your team together and find, develop, and deliver your attendee value proposition. If you will put yourself into the top 10% of exhibitors in the show. You'll have a booth full of interested, qualified visitors, and you'll have an incredible show. If you have any questions on this content, you can reach us through the Exhibitor Resource Center. You have Anna, you have Abby, the team at AAO, who's always there to help you. So with that, on behalf of Anna, everyone at AAO, Jefferson here at Competitive Edge, thank you for investing almost an hour with us. Have a great day. Use what you learned, and we will see you again very soon. So thanks for logging in, everybody.
Thank you.